Good morning. Welcome to another episode of HardFoul. Hope you guys are enjoying yourself however you are listening, whether it's on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or YouTube. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. If you're watching this on YouTube, shout out to Hot Damn I Rock. I got his shirt rocking today. Captain Save-A-Ho. Been rocking with that dude for I don't know how many years now. I think I started watching him when I was in high school to start. Yeah, I think it was high school, and then it was me and two of my Xbox friends who I'm still cool with. We started watching his videos, and then from there I started showing his videos to people that were in my class. Yeah, it's been about 7 years now, I think. About 7 years. Damn, I'm old. But anyway, shout out to him. He went through a rough stretch last year. Kane, if there's any way you can let us support you besides going to view, I put your shit on repeat and I put a whole playlist and I keep views coming your way. Hope you're doing better, man. I know it's been rough. I'm out here praying for you. It's also rough out here for me, so someone wants to send a prayer to my way. I wouldn't mind, or a view or two. I actually between Reddit, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I had a great week. I had over 2,000 views this last week. 2,000 views / listens. So that's super dope. Appreciate anyone who's viewed, who's listened, who's currently listening. You guys have been great. Appreciate every single one of you. I cannot say it enough. I love the conversation that it's brought. I had a very passionate conversation with the Texans Reddit community and the Colts Reddit community. I wanted to do a video displaying all the different comments and feedback, because the one thing I believe in more so than anything is, even if you don't agree, ending the conversation is the worst thing you can do in any form of life. So I want to keep the conversations going. That's huge thing. So I will hopefully at the end of this episode be able to go through and kind of read some of the comments and the feedback, and hopefully we'll turn that into a video. And I think I'm going to do it I haven't decided if it's going to do Saturday or Sunday, but I will start doing responses and stuff and showing the comments. So please, if you have commented, please keep commenting. I love the conversation. Even if you disagree with me, let me know why you disagree with me. Some dude wrote me a full 3-paragraph thing about why he disagreed with my opinion on the Colts, and I was totally okay with that. Obviously, we disagreed, but I could respect where his opinion was. And then there was just some dude who was like, "But you're wrong, though." Really? That's the best response? Like the best response you can give is, "Oh, but you're wrong, though." Gosh, I bet your English teacher is fucking proud of you. Anyway, that's kind of everything that's going on. What else? I think I had one more thing I want to tell you guys before we got into it. No, maybe that's it. And if I remember later, I'll let you guys know later. Or maybe it's unimportant. Who knows? So, how we got to start Monday off. Hope you guys are feeling great. I almost stole Philip DeFranco's line. I was almost about to call everyone some beautiful bastards. Shout out to Philip DeFranco, by the way. I understand he doesn't need my shout out, but shout out to the dude. He's really cool. He's one of the few media sources that I feel like gives a very good, unbiased opinion. He's just kind of straight up, and he's factual about his stuff, and he just kind of gives a common sense response. And then he even lets gives the fans a chance to kind of respond. Does a show on Friday. Really cool dude. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to talk about. Also, new thumbnails. Go check out. If you saw my tanking video, or go see me on Instagram, HardFoul Podcast. I have my new style of thumbnails I'm going to be doing. I'm also thinking about changing the picture for the podcast itself. Messed around with that. Photoshop is a great thing, guys. Go get you a copy or download it. I'm not here to endorse pirating, though. So yeah, mess around with pictures, different stuff, different video ideas. And it's almost Halloween. So meaning I can finally stop seeing all these stupid Halloween memes on my Facebook after this week. Cross my fingers. So, speaking of Halloween and very extreme things, we got to start today talking about none other than you-know-who, LeVar Ball. And I've talked about LeVar before, but I am going to even take a step back and say some things I thought about LeVar were wrong. And let me be very clear. I've always taken the stance of, you know, he is a great dad. I will never take anything away from his parenting. Is he a little extreme? And that's not something I'm personally crazy about? Yes. And then the more I started to think about it, the more I realized I was half wrong / just changed my opinion, right? Information changes the situation. And boy, did it change the situation on LeVar Ball. Let's be very clear. You love LeVar Ball, and so do I. Everyone's going to be like, there's people that are completely against him because they think he's just completely outlandish, outrageous, just shouts out these absurd comments. And how can you think that way? Stephen A. Smith was doing the interview with him after Alonso's debut, and he was like, 1 for 6 is better than not playing like he did at the end of the preseason. You know, he had a great game, and Stephen A. gives these, and Stephen A. does this too, he gives these outlandish reactions, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, here he goes again. Then LeVar comes out in the second game against Phoenix. I think I mixed that up the first time. First game was against the Clippers, which is a dud. Second game was against Phoenix, and he has 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists. And LeVar comes out, and he's shouting about how his son's the greatest thing ever. And he tells Patrick Beverley, I think it was pretty funny, by the way, hope you enjoyed your last interview, because that's all you get. And he was talking about how the only time people are going to pay attention to Lakers is because of his son. It's not Lakers' sons. That's not interesting. But Lonzo versus this guy is interesting, and how big of a deal he is. And even says, my son has bad rap because I'm always talking about him. Let me tell you, who do you like to listen to when you're listening to radio, talk show, or watching different news outlets? You love the loud and outlandish guy, a.k.a. LeVar Ball. Let's stick strictly in the realm of sports, right? You have 2 guys in sports who move the needle more than anybody else. And that is Skip Bayless, and that is Stephen A. Smith. Guess what they do, guys? They're outlandish. They're loud. They have what some would consider outrageous opinions. Think about football season, and the NFL is already the biggest sport in the world. And one of the people that you can't wait to hear from is Skip Bayless talking about the Dallas Cowboys. You love to hear him talk about the Cowboys, because even if you think he's completely wrong, you love to tell him he's wrong. I'm kind of new to Twitter, but it still blows my mind that there is people that just wait for Skip to tweet something just so they can send him Cowboys suck, gifs of Cowboy Tony Romo on his back, and Aaron Rodgers beating the Cowboys last year. Like, there's people who literally wait. Like, they're just waiting with their phones going, when's he going to do it? When's he going to do it? I'm going to tweet. There we go. I got it. I got my smart comment in for the day. Like, you people exist. Stephen A. Smith, he's loud. He's over the top. And you love that. You love it when he's like, I don't give a damn. He done lost his damn mind. What the hell? Stay off the weed. You guys love that. As a consumer, we love that. We love the loud, outgoing personality. Because you know what we do if they don't have that loud, outgoing personality? You know what we call them? Oh, they're just boring talking heads. Oh, they say what everybody else says. I, to a degree, am not as outlandish and as outgoing as they are. And that's not necessarily my personality on certain things. But if it did, I guarantee you I'd have a bigger audience. Think of the #1 YouTuber in the world, PewDiePie. Outlandish, outgoing personality, kind of over the top, says these crazy things. Think about even political talk. You have a Rush Limbaugh, you have a Bill O'Reilly. They're loud, they're outgoing, they're over the top. Because no one wants to hear what their next door neighbor can tell them. People want to hear the guy who's a little bit crazy. They want to hear the guy who's over the top. They want to hear the guy that's kind of crazy. Don't sit there and tell me that you want your milk toast. I think I said that expression correctly. How many of you really wake up and you're like, all I want today is some toast, a sandwich for lunch, and then give me a salad for dinner. That sounds exciting. No! You want some steak for dinner, you want but maybe a burrito for lunch, and you want whatever the hell you want to do for breakfast. A lot of America would probably just, y'all motherfuckers just be at Starbucks. Exciting, loud, over the top, gets sales, gets news, makes him buzzworthy. Yes, you'll love to hate him. But that's not a bad thing. Jerry Jones has made a franchise and a dynasty out of that with the Cowboys. An empire. Mark Cuban has built an empire out of that with the Dallas Mavericks. Take it this way. Or not take it this way. Think about this, and this is my final point. And this will prove that LeVar Ball is perfect for this. And I have another video that's titled this, so if you want to go check that out on YouTube, I call LeVar Ball Kardashian because that's what he is. But look at how popular and how successful the Kardashians are, whether you agree with them, like them, or hate them. Over the top works, guys. So I've had a very rough couple of weeks as far as my NFL season is going, and all you guys know, obviously, I'm a big Bronco fan. Behind my green screen, I have a Bronco bed sheet that hangs on my wall. I've got a John Elway plaque. I have a Bronco key holder. I've been a fan for damn near 10 years now. Maybe longer than 10 years now. I've been a fan for, I started in 6th grade. So 7, 8, so 7, 10, 11, almost 12 years. So obviously, and I've never denied my bias for why I like them or how when I talk about them, that's just what I do. This next segment is kind of hard because let me start it off by saying Denver got its ass whooped yesterday by the Chargers, and they got their asses whooped the week before by the Giants. Okay. Now that I've said that, Denver is going to be all right. And this isn't just some, as I've been called in the past before, bullshit propaganda. This is the truth. Take the game from yesterday. Denver's playing with 6 guys out, including Emmanuel Sanders, and they are running the backup of a backup of a backup offensive lineman and moving another guy from guard to tackle. Let me explain to you how important Emmanuel Sanders is, who Trevor Siemian is far more comfortable with in terms of third down conversions, in terms of catching the ball in traffic than he is with Demaryius Thomas. An offensive line that has 3 good players in a Garrett Bowles, Matt Paradis, and Ronald Leary, and 2 so-so at guard and tackle, which is now even thinner depth when you are playing in the very competitive AFC West and by far the best pass rushing division when you consider a Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, Khalil Mack, Justin Houston, Tom Bali, whoever you're going against in that division, or if they're playing Denver, Von Miller and Shane Ray, Derek Wolfe. You are already down at positions that you can't afford to be down, and you are down your most comfortable target in terms of receiving the ball. Let's not forget, they also don't have Jake Butt. And I understand he's a rookie. They don't have Cody Latimer in that game yesterday. They don't have Carlos Henderson, who I understand is also a rookie, but he's been out. You're down 4 or 5 guys who can catch the football. You're down when a already thin offensive line. You were playing a game against San Diego at LA, even if there was more Bronco fans and Charger fans. Simeon does not do as well on the road as he does at home. You can't run the ball, which is how this team has had its success. No running game, no targets, no chance. But wait, it wasn't even like it was a no chance situation. Do you understand that going into that final drive that San Diego had, Denver had more yards, had given up fewer yards per play? Oh yeah, and had less penalties. Those are the kind of games Denver wins since this new great dominant defense era has taken over. Why'd they lose? You simply are kind of out of options. Simeon is a system player. He is very limited. I mean, there's a couple throws that you just saw. Being a 7th round draft pick, you could tell why he was that, and he just couldn't make all the throws or make all the reads. He does not have a great feel for making things up on the fly. He tricks everybody because he has a couple good scrambles a game, and they're like, okay, cool, he can improv. He is not a very good improv player. No improv, no running game. You're down 6 guys. What are you expecting from Denver to do? But let's understand, Denver will be all right. I know I just went through all the gloom and doom part of it. Denver will be all right. They are still the number 1 defense in the league. They are still top 5 against the run. They are still the no-fly zone. They will get Emmanuel Sanders back. They will get their offensive lineman back. C.J. Anderson, Jamal Charles will start to run the ball again once the offensive line gets improved. Trevor Siemian, when they have a running game, is very good at play action. He is very good at keeping the drive going. They're going to be fine. Also, let's not forget, Denver is in 2nd place. It's not like they lost yesterday and now they're in 4th place 3 games out. They have 1 more loss than the Chiefs. Denver is 3-3. Kansas City is 5-2. So they're only 1 true game behind, and they still get to play Kansas City twice and another game with Oakland. Take a deep breath with me, Bronco Nation. Denver is going to be fine. And now that I've convinced everybody else of that, I'm going to go cry in the corner worrying about the rest of this season. So I always have like this issue, and I realize I'm running into, is I've got all these different topics that I want to talk about, but I'm not very good, I think, yet about the correct order, which is the difference why I always say I'm a podcast / wannabe radio show. But I feel like radio shows, because they've got teams, they have producers, they've got all these guys that work on editing. They're a little bit more, they're formatted better than I am. And of course, I used to always tell myself, it's like, oh, well, I can do what a team would do, but there's just something to having other voices, other opinions, other influences, and just stuff like that impacts how well your overall performance does. So, as I get into that, I don't think talking about the World Series should be thrown on my list, but hey, it is, so fuck it. World Series preview, Astros versus the Dodgers, right? Astros and Dodgers it's the first time since in the 70s that 2 100-win teams have met in the World Series. The Dodgers had 104 to lead baseball, and the Astros had 101, which is 1 game behind the Indians, who led the AL in wins with 102. I've already made my case to why I don't think the Dodgers or Indians would win the World Series. And the Indians are already out, so I'm right on that part. The Dodgers are still in, so obviously depending on this series, but I'm not backing down from my original predictions. You can go check out one of my other videos, which is Justin Verlander being traded to the Astros and then winning the World Series. Just saying, I'm Nostradamus with this shit. So let's look into this part first. The 2017 World Series odds, right? The Dodgers To win in 4 is 7.5%. This is Vegas. In 5, 19.2. In 6, 17.6. In 7, 14.3. The Astros in 4 is 4.6. In 5 is 6.3. In 6 is 13.9. And in 7 is 16.6. And I know I just gave you guys a bunch of numbers, and you're like, okay, what the hell do those numbers mean? I'm going to give you a scenario before we jump back into the numbers. I'm going to give you a team with a better bullpen, a better manager, and a better postseason record. And I'm going to give you arguably the best starter on either of those rosters. And you're going to go into the World Series, and you're going to feel great about it. Especially against the team that you're going against has some struggling bats. They haven't played as well as they have. They've been pushed to a longer series than you thought they would. Oh yeah, that's right. That sounds like the Indians and Cubs last year. Except, oh, that's right, the Indians won. Oh, no, they didn't. Here's a big reason why the Astros are going to win the World Series. I've learned something doesn't work, you don't bet on it again. So if you didn't think the Indians were going to do it last year, betting on this year's Dodgers is not the right way to go. Here's where the Astros have the clear advantage, though. Take Game 1, for example, where the Dodgers clearly have the more pressure on them than the Astros do. Because if the Dodgers don't win Game 1 with Clayton Kershaw starting and you're running into Justin Verlander Game 2, series is over. You go down 0-2, it's over. I understand the Astros or the Yankees came back early in the playoffs, but it is over if the Dodgers get down 0-2. Let's look at the matchups for Game 1 and why it is so important. It's Dallas Keuchel versus Kershaw. Obviously, you're taking Kershaw for who's the better pitcher. Of course, Kershaw's the better pitcher. But let's look at the matchup, because Keuchel's not throwing to Kershaw, and Kershaw's not throwing to Keuchel. I mean, they are, but no one cares about the 9-hole hitter. Keuchel's going up against a lineup that has, what, 2 right-handed bats hitting well? And a Justin Turner and Yasiel Puig. And Yasiel Puig is Mr. Inconsistent. I understand he's had a great postseason until this point, but Mr. Inconsistent is still the name of his game. Oh, let's look at Clayton Kershaw, who's running into, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 7 right-handed bats? Oh, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? The same Clayton Kershaw that outside of 3 starts still has a very shabby to poor postseason record. The same Clayton Kershaw that is clearly not the same pitcher post-September as he is pre. The same Clayton Kershaw that's going to be going against an offense in Houston that led the regular season in scoring, has led the postseason in scoring, and is just a far different animal than the Cubs and Diamondbacks that they faced so far. I'm not saying Kershaw is not great. He is. He's clearly the best pitcher in this series. But is he going to pitch like it? Here's why. Here's the difference and how Houston and LA get to approach Game 1, right? LA realistically gets 5 or 6 innings out of Kershaw, then will go to their pen. They'll extend if they have the lead, they'll extend Jansen. They'll extend their reliever. They'll probably only try to get 2 relievers in. They'll try to get their setup guy and then Jansen. Say they lose that game. You go to Game 2. Verlander, like I stated in my video about him leading the Astros to the World Series, he is the only guy who is still old school mentality and is giving you 7, 8, possibly 9 innings regardless. I mean, he was at 120 pitches coming out in the 8th inning against the Yankees. The Astros can dump their bullpen in Game 1 and piece it together for an advantage. I understand their bullpen's not as good as LA, but they can mix, match, piece together, and get a far better result using matchups and cadences in game one, whereas LA does not have that luxury. Who's LA? LA can't clear the bullpen. If you have to clear the bullpen in game one, that means Kershaw didn't go as far as you needed him to. You, Darvish, and Rich Hill are not inning eaters. They're not going 7, 8 innings for you. So you put your bullpen in jeopardy, and you compromise how well they can do the remainder of the series. And you guys don't want to say that I'm crazy, right? And I already hear it. It's like, oh, well, that's not going to happen. Houston isn't going to get that kind of lead. You're just, you're on this whole kick. What did I tell about Vegas' numbers? Do I have to repeat it? The longer the series goes, it favors Houston. This is why Houston goes 4.6% in 4, 6.3 in 5, 13.9 in 6, and 16.6 in 7. The longer the series goes, because they have Verlander they can throw 2 games, they can mix, match, and piece the other games together, which gives them a better chance in the longer the series goes on. You go to the Dodgers' chances, they go from 7.5 and 4 to 19.2 and 5 to 17.6 and 6 down to 14.3 and 7. Even Vegas is telling you the longer this series prolongs itself, the longer it goes on, it is 100% in the hands and advantages of the Houston Astros because they have that horse who they know they can throw 7, 8 innings for those 2 games, maybe even 9, and they can set up their bullpen and their starters, and they can go compete with the Dodgers. Also, Houston has the better lineup. I've explained this before. Houston, position by position, is a better offense and a better lineup than the Dodgers. This is why they led baseball in runs and led the postseason in runs. So let me reiterate this. If you have $1,000, and I'm not telling anyone to negligibly spend their money. If you don't actually have it, don't do it. But if you got $1,000, you go put your money on Houston in 6. Because that's where this series is going. You get game 1, 2, 5, and 6. And I'll give the Dodgers game 3 and game 4. Whoa, I just burped like 3 times. So let's get into some other things I wanted to talk about here. These are kind of quicker side note type things. So I want to talk about officiating in the NFL. There was, if you saw the Seattle and Giants game yesterday, which, Lord bless your soul, that game was terrible. There was the Fail Mary Part 2, where Russell Wilson threw the ball up to Paul Richardson, and him and Landon Collins were fighting for the ball. And while it looked like Landon Collins was the one to come down with the ball and had the interception, they ruled that simultaneous shit and gave it to Paul Richardson. I just want to make the case, and I've heard a lot of people say it's like, oh, in the workplace, if you dedicate more people or you dedicate more pay, things turn better, right? Like everyone complains about, oh, well, my job just doesn't hire enough people, so we're just always understaffed, or oh, my job doesn't pay enough, so we don't have good, like people don't want to work harder. The NFL gave more or hired more officials and paid them more and put some of them on full time. And officiating still sucks. We still don't know what a catch is. We still see pass interference calls that are BS. We still see what was the call I saw the other day? But those are the 2 big ones. I forget what the other call was. Officiating has not gotten any better despite them putting more people and more pay and more resources into it. So when are we finally going to accept that that's not what makes, like, that's not what helps? Even in the NBA, like we just saw, I'm going to transition to this because this is a thing that happened. Steph Curry and Kevin Durant both got ejected in Saturday's game against the Grizzlies, and it was because of officiating, right? Steph felt like there was a call that he should have gotten and he didn't get. And I went back and looked at it, and I didn't really see it on that play. But going back and rewatching the game, I saw where, okay, he was frustrated throughout the game because he felt, and Memphis plays physical. that they weren't getting the calls that he wasn't getting the calls he think he should have got. Okay, and that's fine to a degree. But can we also understand, like, Steph Curry gets, like, puppy dog treatment? Like, when Steph does something, we just think of it as, like, oh, it's just a dog, you know, a puppy, a little baby, and he doesn't know any better. Like, whether it's, you know, chopping up your shoes or, like, if LeBron took out his mouthpiece and chucked it at a ref, could you imagine the stuff they would say about him? If Giannis, alien arm looking motherfucking Antetokounmpo, I don't know what I just said, threw a mouthpiece at someone, they might file assault charges. Do we understand that even someone like hey, if Gilbert Arenas did it, they might have arrested him on site. Like, they might have literally, shout out to his new show, but they might have literally arrested him on site. And then you get Kevin Durant, who I'm just convinced at this point is the pettiest human on the planet, especially for that level of success. Bro, what are you doing? Like, you're really cursing out a fan and showing your ring finger up like, oh, I got this now. Like, you the same dude who gets a new girlfriend and you find out, like, through Facebook or Twitter that your ex is going to meet at this place, and you go there, and while you're there with your girl, you see your ex, you just hear her maybe say something, and you get up and flip her off and show off your new girl and then walk out. Like, Durant's petty. I like Durant. He's a great player. Big time, all time, whatever you want to say. But, yo, that fucker is petty. Suns fire Earl Watson. I'm not going to lie. So, I thought the team that I knew the least about was the Brooklyn Nets. See, I'm forgetting they fucking moved to Brooklyn. That shit's like 7 years old. I didn't realize Earl Watson was the coach of the Phoenix Suns. So I don't have much else to say about that. But he got fired. I still fuck with Devin Booker. They have a guy who, I'm going to try to say his name correctly. I'm going to butcher the hell out of it. Papa John's, yeah. Nah, they have a Greek player he's 7'1" with like a 7'7" wingspan, and he's supposed to be in the league next year. Only reason I know about him is because I got him on 2K, and he's going to be really cool. So I like what the Suns have going. Although, you all saw on Twitter yesterday, Eric Bledsoe was like, I don't want to be here, and I don't totally blame him. I probably wouldn't want to be there either, because you're probably going to lose 50, 60 games. You're going to have interim head coaches. You are not going to get any kind of recognition or, like, Eric Bledsoe went from Kentucky to the Clippers to lost in Arizona. I wouldn't want to be there either. Also, Chris Paul might miss up to a month. This makes me really sad. Chris Paul is one of my favorite players. If Anthony Davis was not playing, Chris Paul would be my favorite player. He's going to miss up to a month because of the knee. Now, is Chris Paul what he was 5-6 years ago? No, but I still think he's a great I still think he is the best combination of leader / pure point guard that we have in the league. I believe he is I believe he's just still great. And like I said, he's one of my favorite players. I think it'll be good initially for Houston, because I think now they get to play the way they're used to. And if you think about the trade, like, they really didn't lose much in terms of, like, 3-point shooters. So, like, they still have Gordon, they still have Ariza, they still have Ryan Anderson. So James will probably just go back to point guard and they'll keep it rolling. Yeah, and then when they get back, I think because he'll be incorporated from an injury, I think that actually helps them in terms of getting him in the offense maybe a little bit slower. And so even if he still gets off to a slow start, it won't look as bad. Carson Palmer, moving on to the NFL, his career might be over. He broke his left arm. At least I believe it was a break, unless they've come out and said something else. It was left arm, upper left arm, shoulder area, and he's going to be out for 2 months. If I'm Carson, I take my money. I'm going home. Like, you're one of the most illustrious and most celebrated quarterbacks in USC history, You have a very good football career. You're in the not quite Hall of Fame list, but you're just really, really good. You've got playoff. You have playoff runs. You've got records. You know, I don't know what else. I don't know what else you can do. You're not winning in Arizona. Like, hang it up, bro. I like Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer's a very good player. And then, my last thing we'll talk about here is the Bears, possibly in the playoffs, because, the Bears are hot now. No, they're not making the playoffs, but I think one of the really cool things that Mitchell Trubisky, even though fans, you gotta love this about us, is they booed the shit out of him when he got drafted, and now, maybe that's what you gotta do to be good. Just have everybody hate you on draft night, a.k.a. Trubisky, a.k.a. Donovan McNabb, a.k.a. Kristaps Porzingis, and then you'll be great. So good. It's a perfect formula. You just have to go through, months of shame and not being willing to walk outside. Do I think the Bears make the playoffs? No, but I've always said you can be bad and exciting. You can be good and boring. To be bad and boring is just a death sentence. Trubisky at least gives you hope, even if he's not actually putting up great numbers yet. But that defense is better than we thought it was. Jordan Howard is, I think, better than a lot of people thought he was. That offensive line is better than we thought it was. Like, that whole team, that's an actual roster. Like, if you take their roster and compare it to Green Bay's, they actually have a better roster than Green Bay. Green Bay just has, by far, the best player, and that's Aaron Rodgers. Even though now they don't have him, and you see how much of a crapshoot that is. So, yeah, Mitchell Trubisky gives you hope. I don't think they're making the playoffs because I don't think they're better than Minnesota. I don't think they're better than Detroit. I don't think they're a top 6 NFC team. I'm not even sure if they're a top 10. But they are better than we thought, and Mitchell Trubisky gives you hope. So you always got to love that. And like always, you guys, if you heard or saw anything that you liked, please thumbs up, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Always appreciate it. Keep the conversation open. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great Wednesday. Peace out.